Let's first get your details of the conversation between Prime Minister Modi and Joe Biden. Prime Minister Modi dialed US President-elect Joe Biden to discuss shared concerns and priorities. In their first conversation since Biden won the November 3rd US polls, Prime Minister Modi warmly congratulated Biden. According to a statement published by the MEA, the duo also discussed their priorities, including containing the COVID-19 pandemic, promoting access to affordable vaccines, tackling climate change and cooperation in the Indo-Pacific region. Prime Minister Modi also extended his best wishes to Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, the first woman and also the first person of Indian American origin to be elected to the position. Earlier, Prime Minister Modi had congratulated Biden and Harris on Twitter. This was on November 8th, when it became clear that the Democratic Party candidate was set to clinch the presidential election. Now, in a bid to contain virus spread in Delhi's neighbouring Noida, Noida's district magistrate has announced that few of the people who are entering Noida from Delhi will be tested for COVID-19, and this will be done randomly. According to the order, everyone from a delivery boy to a rickshaw driver will come under the ambit of testing. Additionally, if more than one person is found positive in any area, that area will immediately be declared a containment zone. The order comes in the wake of rising coronavirus cases in Delhi. Authorities believe that it could lead to a surge in cases in neighbouring Noida. Gautam Budh Nagar, which is Noida, has recorded 20,566 new cases of COVID-19 and 73 fresh deaths on Tuesday. However, Delhi's recorded over 1 lakh new COVID cases and over 1,200 deaths. This is between November 1st and November 16th.
हमें जो माइक्रो कंटेनमेंट की जो स्ट्रेटजीज अपनानी होगी, जिसमें जहां संक्रमण ज़्यादा है उन एरिया से, उन क्षेत्रों से यदि आवागमन हो रही है, उसको रैंडम सैम्पलिंग के माध्यम से और एक माइक्रो कंटेनमेंट के माध्यम से एक काबू पाने का प्रयास किया जाएगा। आने वाले दिनों में जो विगत दिनों में देखने को मिली है और क्रॉस बॉर्डर के भी जो संक्रमण हो रही है, उसको काबू करने के लिए जो रिट्यून करनी होगी स्ट्रेटजी को, वो किया जाएगा।
Meanwhile, the Delhi government has swung into action and has reimposed some fresh COVID curbs amid that alarming rise in infections. Here's a roundup of all the developments from the capital.
A worrying spike. Third pandemic wave. Dwindling hospital beds. That is Delhi's COVID situation at present. And amid a surge in positive cases, Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has opted for fresh COVID curbs. The CM, who was among the first to unlock a state, has now curtailed number of guests allowed ahead of the upcoming marriage season. Against an earlier approved number of 200, only 50 guests will now be allowed. The CM also sounded a dire warning for markets, cautioning them of a mini lockdown if distancing and other COVID safety norms are violated en masse.
शादियों में केवल 200 से 50 लोग अलाउड होंगे। अगर कहीं पे अब दिवाली खत्म हो गई है, हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि बाजारों के अंदर जो इतनी ज़्यादा भीड़ थी वो भीड़ कम हो जाएगी। सारी कोशिशों के बाद हम देखते हैं कि सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग और मास्क का नहीं किया जा रहा और वो एरिया एक तरह से लोकल कोरोना हॉटस्पॉट बन सकता है, तो उस वहाँ पे बाज़ार को कुछ दिनों के लिए एहतियात के तौर पे बंद करने की इजाज़त दिल्ली सरकार को दी जाए।
But on ground, situation remains grim.
The crowd is still worrying for the government because most people around us don't seem to be following the mask and social distancing norms. As you can see, everywhere crowds are walking, no distancing is being maintained, and many people are simply wearing their masks off their noses or on their chins.
Kejriwal, who was recently assured of 750 extra ICU beds by Home Minister Amit Shah, assured that there is no shortage. The centre has also assured to airlift doctors for the capital. Active cases in Delhi have now zoomed past 40,000, and heat is mounting on the Delhi government.
I think whenever it goes out of control, he remembers the central government, Mr. Kejriwal. It happened in May. When it went out of control, he went to the HM with all decency, intervened and got us the biggest COVID center made by DRDO. Now again, when it has gone out of hand, he's again approached HM. I'm sure HM will try and get the situation right as well.
Delhi's November spike in the cases is the worst of any city in the world, with the capital even surpassing cities like New York and Sao Paulo. Bureau Report, India Today.
So a lot of hope also on the vaccine front. 3 vaccine candidates, that's Moderna, Pfizer, as well as Russia's Sputnik 5, they've shown encouraging results in the late-stage trials. All 3 claiming an efficacy of over 90%. Speaking to India Today, Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan also expressed confidence that India will get a COVID vaccine by early next year. Russia's vaccine, Sputnik, will undergo phase 2 and 3 trials from next week. It will reach Ganesh Shankar Vidyarthi Medical College in Kanpur, wherein more than 180 volunteers have already registered themselves for the clinical assessment of the vaccine. This after Russian President Vladimir Putin pledged vaccine help to India. So finally, you're seeing a shot in the arm for the COVID vaccine program. As I just mentioned, 3 vaccine candidates are showing encouraging results. All of them are claiming a massive efficacy rate. So there is hope of a COVID vaccine being ready by early next year. The big question, however, is who gets the vaccine first and how?
Hope on the horizon. 2 US drug makers have reported encouraging results from the large trial testing of coronavirus vaccines back-to-back. Moderna announced its jab is almost 95% effective. Pfizer and co-developer BioNTech reported 90% efficacy in their vaccine candidate. For a pandemic that has infected more than 53 million and killed more than 1 million people around the world, the bar for an effective shot is set at 50%.
Vaccines that are really quite effective. So I think this is a really strong step forward to where we want to be about getting control of this outbreak.
Both Moderna and Pfizer used innovative technology in designing their vaccines.
This is such a different technology. It's very, very different from conventional ones. The main advantage is that with this technology, with the same production process, involving the same production of RNA, purification and formulation, you can produce virtually any RNA molecule, which then translates into basically any vaccine candidate.
In layman's terms, the concept means injecting part of the coronavirus genetic code into the body, which in turn stimulates the immune system to attack should the real virus try to invade. But a factor that could complicate their future distribution, especially to low-income areas in hot climates, is their storage and availability. Both require low temperatures, -20 degrees Celsius for Moderna and an ultra-cold storage of -75 Celsius for Pfizer. Routine flu and MMR vaccines in comparison can be stored safely between 2 and 8 Celsius.
If the question is when will I get the vaccine, a lot depends on where I am in the world. What we are seeing on the global stage play out at the moment is vaccine nationalism. Most of the rich nations have already pre-booked huge quantities of the vaccine, which has left others with very little.
A challenge for countries like India to inoculate their large population with genetic jabs like Moderna and Pfizer's. Rich countries have already cornered more than half of the promised supply of COVID-19 vaccines under development. Leftover stocks promised to nations like India, Bangladesh and Mexico.
The first agreement that we reached with the US government was for an order of $100 million. So we anticipate to be able to ship up to 20 million of those 100 million before the end of the year. So we are making product, as you know, every day and stockpiling it.
Remember, Britain's University of Oxford and Russia are among 10 other vaccine makers in the big phase 3 trials. They have also reported high degrees of efficacy. More than 50 other candidates are in earlier stages of testing. With rich countries hoarding the stockpiles already, India seems to have been ahead of the curve for having partnered in other vaccine development programs indigenously and internationally.
There are several genetic vaccines like Moderna, Pfizer, Zydus, to name a few, that are in development. And AstraZeneca, or the Oxford vaccine, are being produced in India by the Serum Institute of India. So they will likely be available to most Indians. The timelines we can look at are maybe early January 2021 for frontline workers like healthcare workers, and mid of 2021 for the general Indian population.
No room for complacency. No letting the guard down over the hopeful news. Stay masked, stay distanced, with hand hygiene till a jab becomes widely available. With Aishwarya Paliwal, Bureau Report, India Today.
Shifting focus to another story we're tracking closely this Wednesday morning, Lakshmi Vilas Bank has been put under moratorium till December 16th by the Reserve Bank of India. The central bank also announced a draft scheme. This is for merging the troubled lender with the DBS Bank. Under the moratorium, RBI has restricted withdrawals at 25,000 rupees a month. Withdrawals above 25,000 rupees will be allowed in case of unforeseen expenses, and that will be medical emergencies, education expenses and the likes. RBI said the financial position of the bank has undergone a steady decline over the last 3 years. It added that financial health of the bank is expected to worsen in the absence of any viable strategic plan, declining advances and also mounting non-performing assets. RBI assured the depositors, saying their interests will be fully protected and that there's no need to panic. Well, it's been almost 2 months since heavy rains battered the city of Hyderabad. Residents of Usman Nagar and Shaheen Nagar have still not been able to resume their normal life, as floodwater, believe it or not, is yet to recede in these areas. The localities, which include 300 houses, are still in knee-deep water and filth rising from stagnant water. It's now become also a breeding ground for mosquitoes. Agitated residents allege that they've not received funds or relief of 10,000 rupees. The residents approached the Telangana High Court, which ordered the local administration to pump out the water immediately, and also pulled up the administration for its negligence. 4 astronauts riding a newly designed spacecraft from Elon Musk's rocket company SpaceX greeted their new crewmates aboard the International Space Station after successfully docking, in a landmark achievement for private space travel.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Zero. Ignition. Liftoff.
And resilience rises. Not even gravity contains humanity when we explore as one for all.
And with that, the Falcon rocket thundered into the night sky from Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The SpaceX rocket, carrying 3 Americans and 1 Japanese crew, flew towards the International Space Station. The SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule, dubbed Resilience, opened its hatch door after a 27-hour flight.
Confirming the A-Pass hatch is open, and now we can see it for ourselves.
Greeting the existing crew of 1 US astronaut and 2 Russian cosmonauts with hugs and high fives.
And there they are, first across the hatch, Mike Hopkins. And here's Victor Glover.
It's been an incredible journey, and it's really amazing that this is marking the start of operational crew rotation missions to the International Space Station from the Florida coast, and so it was an amazing ride. I can't tell you how excited we were when that rocket lifted off the pad, and then the last 27 hours has gone really smooth, actually.
This is NASA's first full-fledged mission, ferrying a crew into orbit on a privately owned spacecraft.
I just want to tell you how proud we are of you. We're expecting a lot from you, a lot of good work up there. Not only are we proud in this nation of you, but our international partners are extremely proud of you. And I know I have some folks in Japan that also want to give you some greetings.
The space station, an orbital laboratory orbiting about 400 kilometers above Earth, will be home for these astronauts for the next 6 months.
64 crew to a total of 7.
ISRO has shown the cost advantages of building and launching satellites in India. But this huge leap of SpaceX clearly signals that the race for the space has just begun. Bureau Report, India Today.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.